The day we've all been waiting for. Starlink is finally mobile. So Starlink is nothing new. Obviously, it's been around for a while now, and people have been using it very successfully, especially remote places where they can't get wired internet access or they don't have access to broadband. It's been really helpful. But there has been an underserved market for Starlink for a while, and that's just because it hasn't been made mobile. Those in the RV community or the sailing community. But right now, it's been approved for RV use, and it's pretty exciting. There are a couple caveats. It's limited to only being used on the continent which you purchase it. So like if you're in North America, it only works on North American content. And it's supposed to be used in your own country. Now, it will work for 2 months outside your country. So if you're like in the United States and you take it to Canada, take your RV to Canada for a while, it'll still work, but only for 2 months, and then your subscription could be terminated. We don't know if they're actually doing that or not yet, but it's possible. They haven't come out with the marine version yet, but they have come out with the RV version. And so today I'm going to give you an unboxing of that and test it out and see how it works. I'm going to test it right here, and I'll go across town, set it up, and see if it works, and then report back to you guys. This could be, for those of you that just have struggled with poor internet in RV campsites, or just if you're out boondocking or whatever, that can be a limiting factor. And if you're a digital nomad, this is man, this is going to be a game changer for you. The initial cost was about $700 with shipping and all that. It says $599, but by the time you add all the taxes, I paid $702, and then it should be $135 a month, I believe, plus fees and all that stuff gets up to about $150 a month. So I'm going to unbox this thing for you now, set it up, and let's do it. I was surprised just how few components made up the whole system. There was more plastic protective packaging than there were components. All there was to it was the base, the dish, the network router, and a bit of cabling. There were no written directions, only some regulatory paperwork. So that's it, not a lot to it. I mean, you have the base, and you have the antenna, you have a couple cables, and then the router. It does not come with any instructions. You use the app for that. It's on iOS and Android. You download that. So really, I mean, the only thing you really have to hook up, click the base on there, and you're good to go. All right, now I'm gonna hook up the cabling, power it up, and then let's see how it works. Well, I actually found the directions. They were on top of this, like a little screen protector here on the antenna. You just fold this off, and literally it's just a diagram. It says, click the base in, hook all the stuff, and get on the app. That's the extent of the directions that come with it. The rest is all on the app. I'm just setting this up in the parents' driveway right now because my RV is still in storage, but you get the idea. There were only 2 cables to connect and then plug it in. That's all. Okay, so the rest of it just go right through the app. I didn't even see that. I didn't have the camera on it, but the thing just moved. So the antenna just moved always on its, or just on its own. And so now I downloaded the Starlink app already. All right, so I open the Starlink app and I hit start setup. I've got it plugged in. It said to plug it in. Now I connect to the Starlink Wi-Fi. So I hit open that, go to my Wi-Fi, turn it on. The Starlink network, I will connect to it. All right, now it wants me to create a network. So I'm going to call it Starlink Doodles. And I create a password. I'm not going to let you guys know my password. Okay, it took a minute, but it finally renamed itself to Starlink Doodles. So now then I enter the password I created. It says I'm connected to the Wi-Fi, and all right, so I'll go back to the Starlink app. I want to join that. Okay. It says offline, it's booting. All right, in the app here it says I can click the network and show what items are connected to the network. Just my phone right now. Statistics, network statistics, but there's nothing yet because it still says it's booting. Settings, I can hit that and go to my Wi-Fi configurations, or I can stow it and pause my service. That's kind of the cool thing with this is that, you know, say you're going to be using your use this for RV on a 2 or 3 month trip. You can turn it on for that 2 or 3 months, then you can pause your service so that you don't have to pay for it for the full year, right? Which is pretty nice. You can reset it and all that stuff. And then support, you can search all that stuff. But it's still booting right now, so I'm gonna let it boot for a while and then see what happens. I got it hooked up and I sort of got it working. I got 28 megabits a second, but that's not what we can really use to judge here, so I've got to go somewhere else to figure it out because I have trees. Look at these giant trees in the yard. So we have this giant tree in our front yard and we have one just as big in the backyard, and you need a north-facing sky. Well, we don't have a north-facing sky. So I'm gonna load it up in the car and take you for a ride, and we'll go find someplace that does. It's that easy to, you know, it's portable, right? It's supposed to be using an RV, so pretty easy. All right, just came to the park here. Nice wide open spaces, so we're gonna set it up, turn it on, and see what happens. I can already see one issue is like, okay, if you're in a very tree-filled RV park, it might be an issue finding a place to put this. You could probably put it on top of your rig, unless there's trees over that as well. We're gonna give it, but it's got this nice, it's about a 100-foot long cable, so it'll stretch a long way, and then you keep this inside your RV right here, just the router right here. So I'm gonna plug it in and see what happens. All right, now I gotta just turn on my app, connect to the Wi-Fi, and see what happens. I'm sorry. Okay, well, we ran into a little issue here. I just bought this 500 watt inverter, and it's not enough power for this thing when it's booting up. I mean, I don't know how much power it runs on or whatever, but yeah, so this 500 watt inverter is not enough. So back to the drawing board. Let me just go to a friend's house real quick and plug into his thing if I can. Okay. Should be plenty of sky here, I believe. All right, we got connected to Starlink Doodles, so I guess it just takes more power than 500 watts. So gonna give it a minute and then we'll see what happens. All right, so it does have this little visibility app right here. So you can click on visibility and then you can check for obstruction. So I come over here and stand next to it, and then I scan the sky with my phone. You can actually see where it wants to be. And so according to this, I hit view results, and oh, it says I may want to find a better spot. It doesn't like something over here. So on this little app, it's something to the right over here it doesn't like, so I need to move it over a little bit more. But it says it's online. So I'm going to click on my statistics here, and it says it's pretty good. So now I'm going to do a speed test. There we go. Doing a speed test. 20 megabits a second, 30 megabits, 40. So 33 megabits a second download and only 5 upload megabits a second. Let me try moving the antenna a little bit and see if it's any better. Okay, so I moved the Starlink a little bit, and then I did another test. It said it liked the placement of it. And so I'm testing it again here, and again I'm getting about 30 megabits a second down and 5 up. I mean, it's better than nothing, and it's better than like a lot of Wi-Fi I've used in the past. It's still not great. Oh, the thing just moved on its own. That's kind of interesting. A little better. I'm gonna do another speed test here on it, and it was getting 42 megabits a second and 9 or 10 up. So see how it is. So one thing that's unique about this as opposed to regular satellite internet, like old school traditional satellite internet, is that these satellites are much closer. They're in low Earth orbit, right? So they orbit the Earth, I don't know, every 90 minutes or something crazy like that. Whereas the traditional satellite internet have either been geostationary or the satellites are in much higher orbit. And so the latency on this is only 100 milliseconds because it's just shooting up to something, I'm not sure what the altitude, a couple hundred miles, whereas the geosynchronous ones are like 200,000 miles away. And so it's a lot lower latency than it would be for those. But now I'm gonna hook up my laptop to the network and see how it does. All right, so now I've got my computer connected to the Starlink, and I'm gonna run a speed test on that and we'll see what it does. It's nice, already connected there. It says it's connected to the SpaceX Starlink server, kind of cool. So I was able to run the bandwidth speed test, just not on the app, running it through a third party there, and 67 megabits a second download is pretty good. I mean, you can stream an HD movie with that. The 3.7 megabits a second upload is slow. That's a little disappointing. Again, we're in Texas right now, and Texas is not really the optimal place for Starlink. It's more the northern places right now is where it's better off. So as they add more satellites, I imagine that will get better. But still, this gives you the freedom to go anywhere. A lot of RV parks have Wi-Fi, but it's always been very poor, very slow, because you got like 100 RVs trying to use the same cheap internet connection. So this gets you off the grid using your own internet. So I'm pretty excited. I'm pretty happy about it. I would like to see the upload better. For most people, it's probably going to be good. If you're just searching the web, doing internet and all that, me as a content creator, that upload speed is pretty important. So I'm a little disappointed it's slow right now, but I'm hoping that improves as we go on. So what do you guys think? Do you think it's worth it? $150 a month on the $600 setup, $700 setup? I think it is if you really want to be self-sufficient on the road, if you're a nomad, digital nomad, if you want to really have good internet while you're cruising around. So I'm excited about it. Leave me a comment down below what you think of it, and pretty cool.